So after all these years, we finally get a Hellraiser film with a legitimate budget.
Woo!
Right? And one that was actually conceived of as a Hellraiser movie as well.
Yeah, not
which
like
is also
a
nice.
recycled script.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So as far as our opinion on the Hellraiser franchise, so you guys understand, we're actually, and this will sound kind of contradictory. I'm speaking for myself on this one, but I am not an enormous fan of Hellraiser, but I'm a much bigger fan of the franchise than most people.
Yeah.
Right. So I like more entries. I like actually every entry in this franchise except for Hellworld, which I think is dreadful, and I think Inferno is vastly underappreciated and a great movie, but it was not conceived as a Hellraiser film, nor were any of those direct to DVD, direct to VHS sequels that they made. But you like all of them except for Hellworld as well.
I'm the same as you, and I like a lot of parts of the movies. Like, I think there's some really great scenes and bits, like in the franchise overall.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we finally got a new film, and this is from director David Bruckner, who just came off of The Night House, and before that, The Ritual, a director that I really, really like. He's worked on VHS and Southbound. He's currently working on VHS 85. Is that what it was? Yep. Yeah, just announced today. So very exciting.
Super exciting.
And so this time around, we follow a woman named Riley, right?
Riley.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she is a drug addict, and she and her recovering boyfriend, they go to pull a heist of sorts.
Yeah.
A very low-level drug addict heist.
Right.
Where they don't really know what they're doing, but they come in possession of a puzzle box.
I wish we had
one. And of course, someone messes around with the puzzle box, and Cenobites show up, and mayhem ensues.
Yes.
My expectations for the film were pretty high, mostly due to the director, because I think the director is great. Now, when it comes to The Ritual and The Night House, they're very psychologically driven.
Yeah.
Right? That's the main focal point. And they're not overly graphically gory.
Right.
Right? And so this is an interesting franchise for him to take on, because this one is steeped in its gore and its kills and such like that. So I was very curious on how he was going to handle that material.
Right.
Because that's kind of what this franchise is known for. The Cenobites are all about pain and torture and, mutilating the body in the flesh.
The flesh.
And I have to say, I am fairly disappointed in the level of violence in this film, which was a major letdown for me. I was really hoping that Bruckner was going to bring the gore, the kills, this and that. I mean, the fact that we watched this random movie on Shudder a couple nights ago called Sissy.
Yeah.
And the kills in that were way more graphic than this film. And that plays out more like a chick flick, right? Outside of the kills. This movie is a Hellraiser film. And I'm not going to say there's no gore. Now, to the normal average person, I'm sure this is so gory and graphic. And they'd be like, oh my God. I mean, I just had a client just a few days ago who was like, oh, I shut Dahmer off after one episode because it was just way too gory for me. And I'm like, gore? There's gore in the first episode? She's like, yeah, there's blood. I'm like, oh God, those people.
The blood is
those
gore.
people who see blood and they're like, gore.
Yeah.
The only blood I remember in that episode is the blood on the bed.
That's all I remember too.
It's just, it's literally a bloodstain on a bed. But there might be more. I'm forgetting. But there is not gore. I would remember that. But anyways, moving on from that. So maybe for the average bear, this is graphic. But this is not a graphic film. And that was a big disappointment. What do you think of the movie?
I agree with you for the most part, especially about the gore.
I haven't said anything else yet.
Well, we talked before.
We talked before.
Sorry, so, we did talk a little bit before. The gore. Okay, yes, the gore was underwhelming, especially with something like Hellraiser, where it's all about the masochism and the like spiritual ascension through pain.
Sure.
So I did want to see more of that, but I think
desecration of the flesh.
Yeah, but I like what we did get, especially with the Cenobites' appearance. I like their skin is made into their like clothing. And I just think that they looked very alien, very creepy. I was really freaked out by them, actually. Like, I think that the way that they look paired with the music and some of the shots, like the framing on them, was really unsettling. And it felt very alien, as I said. But I think that like the average audience viewer will probably find that this movie is gory enough for them. And that's mostly because Hellraiser kind of deals with like weird body horror that I think a lot of people can be uncomfortable with, versus just like, you know, stabbing somebody or like chopping someone's head off, or like, you know, kind of the more not brutal but expected gore that you would get in a horror movie. And you know, the Cenobites get very creative with what they do to people.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I love the atmosphere in this movie. I think that that's my favorite part. It felt very dark and somber, and the music was perfect, I think, throughout. I also really enjoyed the performance from the main character, from Riley. I thought she did a good job, and she's a complicated character, which I definitely felt pity for her, I think, is the biggest emotion I have. But overall, I will say that I'm happy with it, even though my expectations were like kind of higher as well because of the director, but I'm still happy with what we got.
Yeah, the film is a tad of a disappointment for me, for sure. I definitely thought this would be higher. Would this make my top 10 of the year? No. This has been an amazing year.
Yeah.
Right? And I've seen 3 or 4 films in the last few weeks that would all be in my top 10, right? So these last few weeks have been amazing, and I thought Hellraiser was going to be added to that list. Now, I will say, I do think that this film will grow on me with another watch. I do have that feeling. So I could come up on this movie with another watch, because I'm not sure what I was expecting from the film. There are things in here that I did like a lot. Right? The fact that the Lamont configuration, although in this movie it's a bunch of different kinds of configurations. So the Lamont configuration is a thing onto itself.
Yes.
But that's what I love. And I love that the puzzle box, right? Yeah. Like I've always said in my other reviews for this series, that the puzzle box is not a puzzle box. Right? It's just this box that you like move, like you press, and then there's nothing to it, is really what it is. There's nothing to solve. And with this one, it's still not 100% a puzzle box per se, but it definitely is closer. Yeah. And I like how it manipulates the environments around it, right? And I think that's probably one of my favorite aspects of the film is like the sets and how they're manipulated by Hell or the Cenobites or the Hell Priest. Now, of course, everyone wants to know or talk about Pinhead in this, the Hell Priest, or the Hell Priestess.
Yeah.
Because this was a big controversy, right? When it came out, a trans woman is cast as Pinhead and all this and that. We talked about that enough in the trailer reaction. So, I mean, yeah, the costumes, as you had said, they traded in leather for flesh, right? Like the Cenobites in this, they like their skin is formed into their outfits, which is wonderful and makes perfect sense, because that's just like inflicting more pain, and it's part of their overall appearance. So
Yeah.
I love that. And I think everything with the Cenobites aesthetically works super well. Now, as far as how the Cenobites are handled, I'm still unsure about how I feel about it. I just feel that they're underutilized, especially Pinhead. Now, granted, in the franchise thus far, Pinhead is used sparingly.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the later Hellraiser is one of the rare franchises where the main antagonist for the franchise that everyone knows, the Michael, the Freddy, the Jason, the Pinhead, when the original Halloween came out, like, Michael is seldomly seen, right? And as the sequels progress, because they know that's why they're there, especially someone like Freddy takes up so much more screen time, right? So you get so much more Michael, you get so much more Jason. Oh my God, Jason's he's right front and center all the time in the later Friday movies. Which of course takes away the mystique and the stalker aspect of him lurking in the shadows when he's just right there in the front, but people are just there to watch him kill. But in this franchise, I feel like Pinhead's screen time actually reduces from project to project, where you get to, like, Deader, and it's like he shows up for freaking 2 minutes, right? Yeah. He's like almost not in the film at all. And within this one, the Hell Priestess is used very sparingly. And her lines are definitely few and far between. I would say she probably has 20 lines in the whole movie.
It's very, very minimal, but I think that I really loved, like,
which isn't
voice.
A negative per se.
No,
don't get me wrong. You don't want to overuse.
Right.
Yeah.
So for partly just, I liked the performance a lot. I liked the voice as well. I thought it was really creepy.
Sure.
I think that having the Hell Priest be androgynous in this way was a great choice because it just emphasizes the alien quality of the Cenobites. But also one of the things that I love about the Hellraiser franchise is that you have all these, like, creative options with the Cenobites. And I'm hopeful that this movie kind of sets up a doorway to have more films in the franchise that will feature more Cenobites, on the screen. And sure, Pinhead would be great to see more of course, but I think that even though Pinhead is iconic to the series, for me, I'm really excited about all these different iterations of people that have become, demonic clergy members.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the music, of course, works because it's the music from the first one, and it's familiar, right? It's like when the Halloween music plays in a Halloween sequel, it's like, yeah, it works. Of course it works. It worked before, why isn't it going to work again? But yeah, I have to say, I felt like, while I did like Riley okay, I thought she was fine, and as you said, like, she's a drug addict, she's dealing with some issues, she goes here and there. I did find the characters in this film to be underwhelming. I didn't really connect too much with almost anybody, right? Like, Riley is sympathetic. She's attractive. So there's, like, that aspect too, where you're, like, rooting for her because you're like, oh, she's pretty. I mean, and then she's got she's got something going on. But I never really connected. There was never a solid hook for me on her boyfriend, on her brother, on her brother's boyfriend. So not only you got a trans woman in here, you also got a gay couple. Oh no. People are going to freak out. Oh no.
I
and then also the other random girl that's in here as well.
The roommate.
Yeah. Is she roommate? She lives there?
She's the roommate, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I connected with her. I didn't have that problem. I didn't connect
but anybody
with
else?
The others as strongly, but I found that she was a compelling character, and as I said, she was very pitiful and I think really tragic, and maybe if we talk about spoilers, I do like the parallels of her, like, personal demons with what's going on.
Let's talk spoilers. Go for it. Spoilers, everybody.
Spoilers. Well, I guess you already said that she's a drug addict, but I felt that, like, it kind of like what she was going through with the Cenobites mirrored addiction, and the like, especially in the beginning,
Sure.
whenever she's trying to explain to her brother's boyfriend and the roommate, to talk to them and about the Cenobites, they have this like disbelief, like she's just crazy and she's on drugs.
Very Evil Dead
yes,
remake, right?
Which I really, really enjoyed. So I guess that wasn't really spoilers, but kind of. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about a specific scene, so
yeah.
But I really liked what she went through, and I think that she, especially in the end, the fact that she chooses the Lamont configuration, and then that is her punishment, is to live with the burden of guilt and like constantly questioning if she made the right decision.
That's the real suffering.
Yes. And I like that a lot, and I think that she's just a primed character to, like, I think one of the reasons that Pinhead is interested in her is because she is in so much pain internally. I mean, she isolates herself from people, partly because maybe she doesn't want them to get hurt, but also just because she's in a bad place mentally as well. Like, she can't accept support from people, which we see in the beginning with her brother and how he treats her, and clearly it's a cycle that they've gone through over and over again because he gets frustrated with her and tries, that's all evident. But I really feel like the next films, it would be cool to see her return to try and, like, go after, like, getting her brother back, like, deciding that she made the wrong choice, and potentially becoming a Cenobite herself. Because I thought that's what was going to happen in this movie. I thought that she was going to ascend, but instead, of course, Voight, I think. Voight becomes a Cenobite.
Not John Voight.
No.
Angelina Jolie's father. No, not him.
No.
Different Voight. I think it's Voight. It might be Vought.
I thought it was Voight.
Isn't Vought from The Boys?
Yeah, that's what I was. That's why I was like, it's not Vought. It's Voight.
Yeah,
it's Voight. It's Voight.
Well, yeah. So, as far as like the kills go, I mean, I don't. It's like spoiler discussion here. I don't have much to say in that regard. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, and this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm really kind of forgetting them. Like, Voight, he gets like his face ripped apart, right? He kind of gets torn apart a little bit. The cool scene where she chooses to stab the Chatterer and make it one of her victims, and then he gets pulled apart. It's okay.
That's been done before.
Sure, I don't know. It just didn't look all that interesting.
Yeah, the roommate gets kind of twisted back, right? Like she gets the chains in her and she gets kind of scrunched back when she's caught. The brother's death is actually off screen. We don't see his death. Yeah,
never should a kill in Hellraiser be off screen.
Yeah, the deaths are not amazing for sure. My favorite was Voight at the end. With him, and it's only because
that's the best for sure.
The best because it's like he has that transcendental moment where he's like seeing the pain as this holy thing.
Yeah, it's the end of Martyrs.
It's exactly, and that's what I was saying earlier. I feel like that's what Hellraiser should really be pursuing, is like the Martyrs level of how far do you push the psyche in pain, like to have pain before it transcends it, and I think that's fascinating. And there was something else I was going to say that I totally forgot, but...
Well, Voight also has this, like, gear-turning thing inside of him that, like, makes it so that he can never accustom himself to the pain, and that it always, like, turns the screw deeper. I think those are, like, his tendons, or you said nerve bundles? I don't know what it is. Tendons... Maybe. I don't know. But something in this machine that sticks through him. I didn't actually like the way that looked and the design between it. I don't know. It looked kind of silly to me. Just being attached to his body like that. I don't know. It kind of felt like a jazzed up billionaire's saw trap. Because it's made out of like pure gold. I was going to say
the saw trap for
it's like
sure.
The gold finger. Solid gold.
What I was going to say earlier was that I think that the other part of Hellraiser is like the torturing, like seeing, like with the roommate when the pins are being poked through her throat.
Yeah, and you can
it's
see
kind of
into
showing
her mouth.
that I wanted more of that because that's the body horror as well that I think is like really exciting in the series. And I was thinking of Imprint actually. I was like I wanted that level of like torture and discomfort, while watching characters be in so much agony, and then also juxtaposing it with the Cenobites and their like excitement and joy in people's agony.
What's Pinhead's saying in the end when she chooses the Lamont configuration, and like that's the real pain is torture, like is mental anguish and regret and all that. Like the choice was what then? What's the choice she's supposed to make there? What's the configuration she's supposed to save her brother and be in pain? Is the brother on the table as an actual bargaining chip to be brought back to life?
The resurrection,
right?
Yeah.
Isn't the resurrection? It's the Lazarus configuration.
Right.
Is the one she could choose, and then the boyfriend gets to take his boyfriend back, and she goes and replaces him, because like in this,
that's what it would
she
be,
has
right?
the ability to pick, because she's in charge, right? Like I can pick whoever I want. Like they're going after the boyfriend, right? Her brother's boyfriend. I don't remember their names.
I want to say it was like Clay, but
she's like, no, you're gonna go after my boyfriend instead, because I've changed my mind. I say who it is and who it isn't. So is the brother? Did she really condemn her brother? Because in the end, it feels like she's saying, like, I don't need anything from you, right? She says that specifically, verbatim. Like, he's not real, right? Like, this isn't going to work. Like, if she had the choice to bring her brother back, and she had to suffer for him instead, because it is, I don't want to say her fault, but it is more her fault than it is his fault. Like, she made her bed to a degree and is lying in it, right? She's the one that broke in and stole the damn thing. She's the one that opened the damn thing.
Yeah.
And he comes to help her, as he always has. And it's just like, I mean, as you said, it's like the metaphor for addiction. Like, when she screws up, it's other people that take the rap for it.
Yeah.
And, in the end, if her brother has the option of coming out of hell and her going in when it's her fault, it does seem kind of messed up.
Sure.
That she would be like, no, I'm just gonna go.
But we don't even know that that's how that works, and that's
I don't. But is that the option? Does she think that's the option? What is the option? Because Pinhead's like, you chose wrong, and it's like, what should I have?
You're like, yeah. Can you tell me exactly what I get when I pick this prize? Because it could be that he comes back. She doesn't exchange her life for his, although there is a conversation about exchanging between Pinhead and Voight. So that probably would be what happened, is that she'd have to sacrifice herself. But what if he just came back and was like ultra jacked up? Like just was not normal and was a Cenobite or whatever.
Well, this is like Angel in Buffy the Vampire Slayer coming back from hell.
Oh my god.
And it's like he's completely gone.
Right.
I mean, he comes back eventually. But
somehow
he's totally screwed up in the head for a while, which you would be.
But, so, her being selfish then and choosing to live and let her brother stay in hell kind of goes with what I was saying about her being sort of primed to become potentially like a Cenobite, or just really that she's a messed up person already. Like, she has all this pain and, like, mental anguish, as well as, like, things that she, legitimately should feel guilty about. So
I also feel like she doesn't feel as much guilt as she should for anyone but her brother. Right? The fact the roommate gets killed, the fact that other people get killed, the chick in the hospital. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like she cares about that as much. And it's like each one of those should have been another weight on her, right? Like each one of them should be someone she cared about. And she's, letting down once again, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's where the disconnect from the characters comes, is because the main protagonist of the film doesn't really have a connection with anyone but her brother. Mm-hmm. And even her boyfriend, he tries to say, I love you, right? So he actually has way more feelings for her than she does for him. This is very reminiscent of the Chucky episode we just watched.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like the person's trying to be romantic with her, and Lexi or Riley, you know, are like, what? Well, I just want to get laid, because she's, you know, she is self-medicating her issues with drugs and sex. She's trying to numb herself, right? And that's the irony here is, right, like the Cenobites are coming to make her feel fully, right? Yeah. She's trying to escape her pain, and they're there to make her transcend through pain. Mm-hmm. And she decides to reject that and continue to keep living in a world where she's rejecting the truth.
Yeah.
Right, through pain. So I don't know. As I said, she doesn't have a connection to the roommate. She doesn't have a connection to her brother's boyfriend. She doesn't really even seem to like her boyfriend. She seems to just be screwing him for you know, for fun, to try to keep her mind off of her drug addiction.
Well, she's defensive. She's got all these defenses up. And
I get that, but if we gotta connect.
Yeah.
To care.
Yeah.
And I just don't connect to anyone around her. Maybe outside of her brother, but her brother's dispatched so fast, and we don't see him again until the very end, until she makes her choice. And I thought he was going to be one of the Cenobites.
Yeah, we did think that.
But he never was. And I think it would have been great is if in the end, she saw the victims and what she was responsible for. Mm-hmm. She would have saw the roommate. She would have saw, you know, the chick at the hospital that was in the opening with the young gigolo guy who gets conned into opening up the configurations. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to call it in this. The puzzle box, I guess.
It's the
because it's not the Lamont configuration anymore. The Lamont configuration is one of 6 different configurations,
which is really cool. That's something that I actually enjoyed quite a bit about the film. And then, as you were saying before, the fact that they make it lament.
Right, because you lament the choices you've made. Sorry,
but just that the environment changes so much based on the puzzle box, and there's a lot of like playing with the idea that hell is like this adjacent dimension. Mm-hmm. So obviously, like the car scene when they have the roommate in the backseat and they're all up front, kind of arguing, and it just stretches the window and them farther away until she's
that stuff's great.
Really, really cool. Mm-hmm. And very unsettling and creepy because, you know, like I was thinking about it when we were watching it, like you really aren't safe anywhere if that's the case. Like any like part of your house could become...
I mean, they try to drive off and the friggin' like road opens up into stairwells and MC Escher paintings.
Right. Yeah. It's cool though because it makes you feel very claustrophobic, but you know, obviously whatever it is for large spaces, there's like the opposite too of claustrophobia, but fear of large spaces. It's kind of like a mix of those two things for me.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wish I would have connected more. That would have brought me into it. The manipulation of the environments, as I said, is my favorite. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess the messaging and the point of all the movie is there, and I think it will be something I appreciate more on another watch. And this is what's tough about doing the spoiler discussion after you watch it once. Right. You wanna watch a movie, let it digest. We just finished it.
Yeah.
If we got to sit with it, talk with our friends about it for like a month, then rewatch it and then get our then we could really get into this. But like at this point, I'm still trying to figure out how it all fits together.
What the configuration is.
Yeah. I liked how the puzzle box started. I really wish I would have liked the puzzle box to match the environments as it was moving and clicking into places, and we saw the different shapes it was taking on. If the room or whatever would have started making that shape around it. And I definitely thought that the house that they went to looks like a puzzle box. That looks like a puzzle box, but it's really just a cage. This kind of reminds me like 13 Ghosts or something,
that's
right?
What
it's
I
like
thought
we made a prison for you instead.
Yeah, I instantly thought that when I saw the house. I was like, oh, he totally tried to make a trap for them. So.
And that's because of 13 Ghosts.
Yes.
But yeah, you think that house is gonna play more into the configuration and all of that stuff, but and I like that. The sets were very cool.
The sets were really cool.
But it just, if I would have connected with characters more, and the gore would have been ramped up, and it would have had a more, and the ending would have been more climatic and more of a, like, maybe a twist, or like a, oh shit, like a impossible choice.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh shit, what's she gonna do? That should have been the ending, right? Is her sitting there like, oh my god, what do I do? Like, maybe she was like super in love with her boyfriend, and she was super, she loves her brother, and like she's like she has to choose which one goes to hell.
Yeah.
And which one she has to lament.
Oh my gosh.
That would have been super cool. And if we would have built both of those relationships throughout, and they would have been butting heads, and they don't really like each other, the brother and the boyfriend, which is kind of what they set up here. And she had to make that ultimate choice in the end. But like when he betrays her and all that, I'm just not connected enough to care, right? And you had called that before, that he was suspicious, but I was just kind of like, I don't really care. I don't really care that he's suspicious. Yeah. So like when he does the heel turn, and then, I don't know, he never fully commits to the heel turn, because like he's supposedly in love with her when they're having sex. So like when it happens, he's kind of like half-assing it, but he is doing it. And it's like you kept thinking like he's going to change his mind because he loves her, but he never really does. And then he just kind of sits there and then like just gets stabbed like an idiot. And then you're like, okay, he's gone. I don't know. All that stuff was just handled kind of sloppily for me. So,
okay.
you know?
Yeah. I hear you. I definitely hear you.
So, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
This is our first watch.
We'll
maybe one day we'll watch it again and do another spoiler discussion. Yes. Probably not.
Well, we never know.
You never know.
Maybe we'll do it on
maybe
a
watch
party.
Exactly. On Patreon, which you should be a part of. We watched Christine Night. We had a great time. We had only 6 people there, but they were 6 amazing people. So thank you to all 6 of you who joined us on Patreon. You guys are amazing. And we hope more of you will come for our Beetlejuice watch party in 2 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
Be there or be damned.
Beetle.
Beetle. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute.
Yeah.
The Cenobites are coming for you. They want to put some like frosting on you.
Some frosting on
you? The Cenobites.
Yeah. Oh.
The Cenobites.
Like cinnamon bites.
Like cinnamon bites. They need to do that at Cinnabon.
100%.
Cinnabon needs to have a whole, take advantage of Hellraiser coming out right now and try
Halloween.
Do you want to live deliciously?
Yeah, we want to live deliciously.
I think that's the witch.
We have such bites to show
you.
Hey, that's patent.
Shit. We have such bites to show you? Cinnabon, write us a check. Write her the check. Well, I came up with the Cinnabites. She came up with the such bites.
Yeah. Creative collaborative team.
Man, can you imagine though? If for Halloween season, Cenobites were like, we have such bites to show you. Yeah. Introducing our new Cenobites.
Be perfect.
And like, Pinhead comes out and is like, delicious.
Yes, I can't imagine that.
That would be amazing.
Should happen. Ugh. Yes.
Anyways, hire us for your commercials.
Yes. For your commercials.
All right, guys, let us know what you think. And see you at the watch party, right?
Right.
Bye.
Bye.